start the recording. Don't worry. So the recording is just for you. Just after this session, we're going to send the recordings in order that you can have and you can revise the session afterwards. So if you have any problems with the recordings, please let me know. But the recording is just for you mainly, for your records. So Nina said, to know what you don't know before. Great. So thank you very much for your answers. All of you know what we are talking about. So, but okay, as visibility, you can increase visibility for different angles, and everything contribute to the visibility of the research. But we decided to, well, we decided to design the session in 3 parts. We think that visibility should be from the beginning of your research. You shouldn't leave the visibility activity by the end, because you are just missing the whole period before and during. So we classify the activities in 3 parts. So things that you should consider before, when the idea of your research come to your mind. So what thing you should do before you start the research, and what other thing you should do during the research, when you are doing the research, when you are doing the analysis or the data collection, and after. So what activity you should be focused after. And you will see when we finish the session, you will see, because people tend to associate visibility with dissemination, which is good, but it's as a part, it's a small part of the whole process as we consider. So we're going to focus on activities that you should do from the beginning. For example, get an ORCID ID, create online profiles in platforms, check topics. So if you are thinking about a particular topic, you can check the topics. If the topics are is a hot topic or attracting attention. Consider potential collaborators and manage your data. So all these things should be before. So during your research, you should attend as much as possible and present results at conferences, preliminary results. Use social media to interact with other colleagues. Choose journals to reach a broader audience. We're going to show you which tool you can use to find out potential places to publish. Write an engaging titles and keywords for your paper. That is crucial, because if you don't have the right keywords, so chances are that people cannot find you. Be consistent with your name and your institution in your whole journey. And after, when you finish the paper, and what you should do, deposit your paper wherever is possible in platforms, update your research profiles in repositories or in research management information system. Share the conferences slides. If you have conferences slides, put in platforms. So we will show you which platform you should use to share your conferences slides. It's visibility for you. If you don't have a paper already finished, it's just preliminary result that can help you to raise your profile as a researcher in that area. And wherever is possible, deposit research paper, research data for papers, as there are some evidences saying that is a link in increased citation and the sharing data. Think about publishing your thesis as a monograph or as a paper, and make that your e-thesis open access immediately in the repository of the university, of Leeds, Sheffield, and York. And consider publishing in data journals. If you have a data, you can publish that data in data journals, in just data journals. So you can publish your paper and your data. So you are just achieving a visibility for two angles. And disseminate your outputs through social media. So you should update your profiles. So yes, I recommend remember this scheme when you think about visibility, as we consider it's a journey that you should keep in mind. So we are working under the premise that your high quality research deserves as much attention as possible. So we know that your research is high quality, and for that deserve as much impact as possible. So we are working, we are not saying that impact or visibility is quality, can be, but can be not, but we are assuming that your high quality research deserve as much attention as possible. So again, just to, like a recap, why is research visibility important? To promote your research, to reach a wider audience, foster networking and collaboration, attract feedback from other researchers, and increase your impact and your citations. Remember this scheme, again, visibility is through all the stages in your research, before, at the idea stages of research, during, and after. So, do you have any questions so far about these activities? We're going to explain in detail all of them, but do you have any question? Don't worry. If after this session you would like to know more about that, please get in touch with us. So we're going to focus now on activities that you should do before. So I'm going to hand over my colleague Deidre. She's going to explain you about ORCID. Oh, can we not hear you?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Sorry for that. I was on mute. I'm Deirdre. I'm Barbara's colleague, and I work in the research support team, and I support around literature searching and raising visibility and a little bit of bibliometrics as well. So just to explain about an ORCID. So an ORCID is basically an identifier, a unique identifier that links you to all of your work. It allows for author disambiguation. So in other words, to disambiguate or distinguish yourself from authors who might have similar names. And also it's useful because it automatically harvests your publications. So it'll add new publications that you add to your ORCID profile. But it's important to check your ORCID to make sure that the correct publications have been harvested and that they're accurate. Does anybody here already have an ORCID ID? If you want to let us know in the chat or by coming on the microphone, that would be good to know if anyone here already has an ORCID ID. Or has anyone heard of an ORCID ID? No, so a lot of people it's new. Okay, so I'm just going to. Oh, so Alice, you have an ORCID ID, and do you use it? Have you added publications to it yet? Okay. Pratici has one as well. Okay, Joanne, yeah. Okay, so some of you. Oh, Alice, you've got one publication currently linked to it. So as you develop as a researcher, hopefully more will be added to it. So I'm just going to share my screen with you and just show you the ORCID page where you sign up for it. Okay, so I'm going to, hopefully you should be able to see my screen. So I'm going to go to the University of Leeds website.
Oh, I think Deidre has technical problems, so I'm going just to share my screen instead. Don't worry, when she joins us, she can just continue the session. So this is the website of Orchid ID. It's under the umbrella of, can you everybody see my screen?
Barbara,
Yes.
we briefly saw your browser. We can see it again now. That's great.
Thank you. Yes, you can see here a bit of information about Orchid ID. So if you don't have any Orchid ID, you can follow this information, so this website, and create an Orchid ID. So we can go to the Orchid ID website. I'm going to show you my profile. So Orchid ID is free. It's an identifier for you as a researcher that can distinguish, as my colleagues say, distinguish yourself from other researchers. And many funding agencies and journals ask already to have an Orchid ID, because it's we are in that society that everything is linked and transparent and can link. So it's for you as a reputation, as a recognition of your paper, and it's online, and it's so it's you. So definitely organization and journal check the Orchid ID. So the Orchid ID is very easy to create an Orchid ID. The Orchid ID is also connected with databases, so you can you can check the publication that you have in databases and link to the Orchid. So Orchid update automatically with the publication in the Scopus or Web of Science. So it's a good thing because it's free and it's connected to online. So if someone type your name online, can see your profile in Orchid. So I do recommend you, even if you don't have a publication yet, it's good that you have this profile as you are a researcher, so that you can just put your, I don't know, your employment or your studies as a researcher. It's for you as a credibility. You can see here my education, my employment, also my work, my publications. So I recommend have an Orchid ID, but spend a bit of time updating the Orchid ID, so the Orchid profile. Because I see people have more than one Orchid ID but empty. So if you have more than one, I recommend just merge all of them in one and delete the other one. You have just one, and clean your Orchid ID. So the publication that don't belong to you, so clean it. So delete it from your profile. I don't know if Deidre is already here.
Yeah, sorry, I got kicked out of the session. I'm sorry.
No worries. So I explained to them already Orchid,
yeah.
So you can explain the platform.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just share my screen again. Yeah. So as well as having an Orchid ID, it's a good idea to consider joining various online platforms such as ResearchGate, or Academia EDU, adding yourself to getting a Google Scholar profile, having a profile on Twitter or LinkedIn.com. So these are kind of other ways to sort of increase the visibility of you as a researcher and of your research. So we recommend that you consider doing that. What we have here is we've got links to a researcher, Professor Anna Modell, that you might want to look at after the session. So that basically shows her profile on various different platforms. They'll sort of be a little bit different on different platforms, and I can just share my screen to show you. So I just try and find her profile. Yeah, so here we are. So just copy her profile here. You can see this is her profile on ResearchGate. So you can see all about her citations, her interests, and lots of information about her. Just get her profile for Academia EDU. Just taking a moment to load. It's come up here. So you can see her now on Academia EDU, so papers she's been involved in, information about her. You can send her a message. Look at her co-authors, so lots of information about her. So yeah, it's a really useful way of sort of increasing the visibility of you and your research, and for more people kind of finding out about you and your research, and hopefully reading it. Okay. So now we want to think about collaborating. In terms of collaborating with other researchers in your field and finding out about other relevant areas of research in your field. If you'd like to let us know in chat what you think the benefits of collaborating are. So why should you collaborate? Yeah, Izzy, fresh perspectives and ideas. Anyone else? So why is it better to work with other researchers than possibly just work on your own and just do your own research? Or is it better? Is it better to just work by yourself? Have any of you collaborated on research so far? Yeah, Alice, raise your credibility. If other researchers is more established. Yeah. Yeah, Izzy sharing equipment, yeah. Yeah. Erica, yeah. Broadening your network. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, so collaboration is something you should consider in terms of your research. It can be really, really useful. As a lot of you have said there, it can link you with kind of other researchers who've got other ideas and perspectives that could kind of enhance your research. You could work with possibly a researcher who's more established, and if your paper is linked to them, that could kind of increase the number of people who are going to read and cite your papers. Is it kind of practical benefits, sharing equipment, or it could be useful. We've worked on a paper, myself and Barbara and another colleague, and we sort of shared up our roles in the paper. Different people were involved in drafting different sections, and different people involved in checking references and formatting and corresponding with the editor, so it can save time. So yeah, we definitely think that you should consider collaborating, because it can increase the reach of your research, and it can obviously sort of increase the quality of your research if you kind of have different expertise to other researchers. But we do recognise that in some areas, in some humanity areas, that people tend to, it's more kind of usual to work as a kind of solo researcher. So obviously it depends on your research area, but it can be really useful for increasing the visibility and the citations your research will receive. So before you start your research, we recommend considering collaborating. So in order to find potential collaborators in your field of your research, we suggest that you consider perhaps using databases, such as citation databases such as Scopus and Web of Science, because they can be really useful way of kind of finding out who else is doing research in your area, or what who's working in your field. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to share my screen and just show you in Scopus how to find other people that might be working, other authors in your research area. So
Oh, I think data is having again the problem. Apologies about that. I'm going just to share my screen with you. So how you can find out potential collaborators in your field. So the way that you can use citation databases, so bibliographic databases. So I'm going just to check the library homepage. So how you can find out citation database and type Scopus. How many of you are familiar with Scopus or have heard about Scopus before? So the way to access to Scopus is through the library homepage. It's not for free. We have the license at the university, so you need to authenticate that you belong to the university, and that is the first time. When you just authenticate once, you don't have to authenticate again when you visit Scopus again. So it's just go to Scopus. Scopus is a multidisciplinary database. That means that cover publication from arts and humanities, social sciences, medicine. So you can find out publication from all the disciplines. So for that, you can use Scopus to identify who are the most prolific authors in your field. So that is Scopus. Can everybody see my screen? I hope so. So, this is the main website of Scopus. So you can just check, for example, I'm going just to type here artificial intelligence. But if you have your own, I read in the cancer biology, or if you have your own area, you type your own keywords. That is an example for me to show you how you can find out people working in artificial intelligence worldwide. So if you type artificial intelligence, you can check search. And then you can see that 450,000 approximately documents were produced using artificial intelligence from across the globe. So how you can identify who are the most prolific author in artificial intelligence, but you can click here and analyze your research results. So if you scroll down, so there's number of analysis here. So a trend, so how is the documents across the different years? So you can see that artificial intelligence is now a trending. So you can see that the number of documents are increasing from 2014. You can see that there's an increase in the number of documents because of now the algorithm that we use and the learning. So this type of things is a hot topic already, the artificial intelligence. But we are not analyzing artificial intelligence. We want to know who are the authors producing the most. So you click in authors and you can see documents by authors. So you see Anon. I don't know if this is a nickname or it's a real name, but for example, Prey is the second one. You can click on the name and it's Henry Pradé from Sydney, Australia. So you can check this author and read the paper and see if you would like to approach, or if it's so senior that you prefer someone more from your stage of your career. But you can analyze the profile of the author and see what is the co-author, so you can identify potential other that is linked to this name. So you can use the database in which angle, because the database is like a spider web, everything is connected. So I do recommend you to use the database to find out potential topics, potential collaborators, etc. Do you have any questions so far? Oh, sorry, Deidre, you back.
Sorry, I keep getting kicked out of Minerva. Sorry.
Don't worry. I was asking if they have any questions.
Yeah. So if anyone has any questions about finding collaborators. Okay, if you've anything, yeah, just let us know after the session or stay on at the end. We can stay on for a couple of more minutes. So another thing you need to consider before you start research is thinking about a plan for managing your data. So it's important that you look after your data in order that it's in a condition that you're able to share it with when you finish your research. So your data can always be a way of increasing your visibility as well as your actual research. So sometimes people may find your data and that may lead to your research, or they may cite your data and that can increase your number of citations. It's also important to remember that most funders now require researchers to submit a data plan with grant applications, and you need to have a data management plan for your thesis. We have a team here in the research support area of the library, the research data team, that can help you with your planning for your managing your data. They run specific courses on it, and there's also information on our web pages. So you might want to consider contacting them when you think about managing your data plan. And we have the details at the end of the presentation. So I'm going to hand back to Barbara now, and she's going to talk about what to do during your research.
Thank you, Deidre. So which activity we should do during the research? So as someone mentioned, finding potential conferences. I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to show you a website that is quite interesting. So the website is called All Conference Alert. Oh, sorry. Can you mute yourself? Please. Thank you. So it's all conference alert. So you can find conferences from all different countries. So it's just type all conference alert. You can find conference by topics, by education or law or engineering, social sciences, or by specific cities. For example, in Washington or in Buenos Aires or Montreal, if you would like to, if you have in mind something from your field that it was in a city, so you can just filter by the city or by countries. So you can see, for example, in South America, how many conferences are taking place there, or in Europe. So I'm going just to see, for example, Asia, Africa, Europe. Going to just check United Kingdom, going to see how many conferences are taking place in United Kingdom. So the conferences are ordered by date. So by the so it's not it's onwards instead of backwards. So you need to check the conference taking place today, so in future. So I think you cannot check with conference taking place years ago. So, for example, in Birmingham, in Edinburgh, you can see Liverpool. So if you would like to, for example, if you are reading the title and say, oh, International Conference on Identity Politics. Oh, I like the sound of this conference. It's quite, but you can check the conference in more detail. Be careful, because nowadays we're in that area of internet, and so can be predatory conferences as well. So conferences that are not real, and the only thing that they want is take the money that the fee that you spend. So be careful, double check, triple check that the conference is I don't know, is reliable and has a website. You know the people. Be careful, and in case you have any doubt, check with your supervisor or check with your colleagues, or also check with the library if we can support you to identify if the conference is reliable or not, because as you can know, is everywhere. So be careful. But and also maybe you can consider attend a conference that has conference proceedings. Conference proceedings is a type of document that after your conferences they I don't know, they keep together all the documents, all the papers, and they make a publication. So some databases publish conference proceedings, so it's a good way for you to receive visibility as well. We can use Scopus. I'm going just to check quickly to show you quickly that you can identify conference proceedings in Scopus. The same that I show you to find out potential collaborators, you can use Scopus to find out sources where to publish. One of the where to publish is conference proceedings. So this is the main website of Scopus. In the top part, you can see sources. In the top right part, check, so click there, and then you can find out here all the sources that the Scopus index. It's a number of 44,000 in general, but not only journals. So Scopus index journals, book series, conference proceedings, and trade publications. So you can maybe click, might like to click in conference proceeding and see the conferences that have conference proceeding, a number of 500 approximately Scopus index. So Scopus index conference proceeding from conference. So that's something that maybe you like to apply, because it's another publication that you can have in Scopus and increase visibility from this publication as well. Any questions so far from this part? If you have any question, please let me know. So the next point of the slides is you can use ResearchGate, as Deidre explained you before. You can use a research platform to increase your visibility, and I really like this platform because I have platform in all of them. So in ResearchGate, in Research Academia, in LinkedIn, Twitter, and all of them help, and Orchid, of course, and all of them help me to increase visibility. When someone type my name in on Google, all the platform come to you can see here, just for curiosity. If someone, for example, type Barbara Lancho Parrantes, you can see all my in LinkedIn, in Twitter, in ResearchGate, in Orchid, in Google Scholar. So definitely this platform help you. However, you can use ResearchGate to interact with colleagues. So there is a feature in ResearchGate called questions. So you can type a question like this researcher typed, why does curcumin contain anti-cancer properties? So this researcher at some point was wondering that, because maybe that topic was related to his research. So you can see how many people interact with him. So many people answer that question. So that is a way to interact with other colleagues researching in the same area than you. And it's an open door for potential collaborator, because people are aware that you are researching the same area and can email you and say, shall we publish a paper together? So that is definitely very, very useful. And ResearchGate is for free, so you don't have to pay anything to, and yeah, so it's definitely helpful. So do you have any questions so far? I'm going back to my slides. So, well, now a question for you. How do you find out sources in which to publish? When you are thinking to publish something, where do you find out where to publish? Where do you go to submit your paper? How do you find out sources in which to publish? I look at my main sources and where they publish them. Good idea. Anyone else? The same? Good. And which are your main sources? When you mean like my main sources, which are your main sources? How you identify that is my main sources? Can you explain me a bit more, Erika? Ah, good. Definitely. And you can also, this leading article, you can see the references where, so the reference that they use, so there's a link to other journals or books, looking at the journals, aim and topics. Articles I have drawn on my literature review. Good. Well, we have here Deidre and Tanya that are expert in literature review, so they can help you with literature review later. So yeah, so you know how to find out potential places to publish. So because this session is just based on research visibility, we are offering next year a session in where to publish, in which we spend 2 hours playing a bit with the tools to find out potential placing, and we apply indicators and in more details. So I'm going just to show you briefly the tools that you can use to find out potential places to publish. But if you would like to know more about that, please come along to our session next year. That is just focus on where to publish. So I'm going to share my screen. Well, first of all, I'm going to present to you, introduce you the main. Well, you can find places to publish everywhere. So there are loads of databases and tools that you can use. However, you can use citation databases to find out. So you can use indicators, bibliometric indicators, to help you in your decision making. So for example, the first one is a journal citation report from Web of Science. How many of you have heard about Web of Science? So Web of Science, Scopus, and Scopus both are citation databases, multidisciplinary, that index different discipline, and citation databases that citation and abstract database is that everything inside the database is linked. So the documents are linked by the references. So that is what makes them a bit different from other databases. So for that, you can just calculate the citation received by a particular journal or a particular document. That is why, well, we can just track the attention that we receive. So yeah, so it's just to show you that you can use these tools and use the indicators to help you in your decision making. For example, if you have in mind an idea to publish in a journal, you can type this journal in this tool and track how many, for example, citations the journal receive, just for you to help you in your. It's a neutral way to help you in your decision making. So I'm going to share with you my screen. So how to access journal citation report? So we need to go to the library homepage again and type journal citation reports. Again, this tool is we have the license. It's not free. So we need to authenticate that we belong to the University of Leeds. But once we authenticate, we don't need to authenticate every time that we go to journal citation report. So the journal citation report is the home, as you maybe are aware of, journal impact factor. So the journal impact factor is a journal level metric that associated to journals, and journal citation report is the home, the home of the journal impact factor. So if you need to find out a particular journal impact factor of a journal, you need to go to journal citation reports. But again, if you would like to know more about that, we have a session focused on where to publish. So how you can interact with journal citation reports. So you can find out, you can see on top of the website, you can see journals. So you can type a particular journal if you would like to analyze a particular journal. So I'm going just to click here. And so for some reason, the filter, maybe from the last session, is filtering computer science, that and that. No, I don't want that. So just from so you click on journals, and a number of 20,000 approximately journals are indexed in journal citation report from all different disciplines. So when you click in journals, the tool show you all the journals, ordered by GIF, that is Journal Impact Factor. So you can see that Cancer Journal for Clinicians is the one that received the highest impact factor. The impact factor is just an average of citation per publications. So this journal, what you have to interpret that is the document published in that journal receive as an average 2086 citations. Is how you well, you can receive more than that or you can receive less than that. That is just an average. So that's ordered by that. You can see different indicators in the website. I'm not going to go in more detail. It's just to show you that you can use this tool to find out places to publish. So you can use this as a way to for increased visibility. And also there are indicators about open access. So the number, so 89% of the document published in Cancer Journal are in all gold open access. So maybe it's something that you would like to know. And also, if you click on top in categories, you can, because if you are not sure which journal you would like to publish, maybe go for categories. So you can narrow it down by categories. For example, agricultural, if you consider you belong to agricultural sciences, you click in agricultural sciences, and under agricultural sciences, there are a number of subcategories. So specific categories under agriculture, because agriculture is too broad and cover many things. So maybe under, so you can see, for example, I don't know, agronomy. So say, oh yeah. So my research area is agronomy. So you click in agronomy and see the journals associated with agronomy. So a number of 90 journals in the edition of science, social science edition, because the journal citation report has 3 editions. So, but the one that we would like to explore is the social science edition. You can click here to see journals associated with agronomy in agricultural sciences. So again, the journals are there, are ordered by GIF, so the journal impact factor. The journal impact factor is not the same every year, so can be different depending on the citation that the journal receive. But in agronomy, the first one is advances in agronomy. Imagine that you say, oh, I would like to publish in the journal, but you can click here and see the profile of the journal. So you can explore a bit more to understand which is the publisher and the journal performance. So you can see more details. As I say, the journal impact factor is not stable, can differ by different years depending of the citation received. So it's something that maybe you would like to consider, and also see which are the citable items receiving the highest citation. So you can have a look in the effect of nitrogen fertilizer, so to check which makes this article receive so many citations. So that's for you to think that you can use these tools and the indicators to help you in your visibility. So there are others, for example, Scopus, but because of we have just 30 minutes, I'm not going to go in more detail. So because we have a session focused on that, but please bear in mind that keep in mind that these databases can help you in your visibility. Do you have any questions so far? Would you like me to show you in Scopus? Or you are okay? I can just briefly show you how you can find out potential places in Scopus. Okay. My pleasure. So, okay, I'm going to show you, because sometimes it's hard for me, just I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information, but if you want, my pleasure. So, okay, so how you can access to Scopus. So the same that you did with library homepage, so type library homepage and check Scopus. So Scopus and Web of Science belong to different companies. So for that, both have different coverage, different policies, where they, so maybe you can find something, a journal in Scopus that is not in Web of Science, and you can find something in Web of Science that is not in Scopus, or you can find out both at the same times. If you ask me in terms of visibility, what should be, but I would advise you to check the journal is in both, in Scopus and in Web of Science. Why? Because if someone in future are searching about a topic, can find you in both databases. So your paper is going to be in both. So if someone is using Scopus, can find you, and if someone is using Web of Science, can find you as well. So how you can find out potential places to publish in Scopus? That is the main website in Scopus. Go to sources on top part, and as I mentioned before, Scopus index journals, conference proceedings, book series, and trade publications. So the way that Scopus and Web of Science classify the journals is like this number of sources, 44,000 of sources, has a topic, so has a scope. So Scopus revises the scope, and depends of the scope of the journal, they classify the journal or the book series or the conference proceeding into different subject areas, into different subject categories. So for that, you can apply here subject. So Scopus has 27 big subject areas. If you click here, is for example, the big subject areas is agricultural and biological sciences, arts and humanities, biochemistry. You can imagine the broad subject areas. Under this subject area are subject categories. So if you are a researcher in, I don't know, subject categories, cancer research, for example, well, I'm going to show you all the subject categories. For example, business management and accounting is the subject area. Another subject area is computer science. That computer has subject categories, specific subject categories, and under this specific subject category are the sources. So yeah, so the best way is just play yourself with the tool. Decision sciences, dentistry, health and planetary sciences is another one, economics, econometrics and finance, energy, engineering. So you can see it's 27, health profession, immunology and microbiology, material science, mathematics. Well, you can see. So you can imagine how many. So, but just to show you, I'm going just to go, as I say, cancer research. So it's just an important topic. So a number of 324 results are under cancer research. And the same journal citation report, they classify the journals by site score. Site score is the journal level metric in Scopus, is the journal impact factor in Scopus, but instead of 2 years, and that's the impact factor, they divide the citation in 4 years. So how many citations in 4 years were received by the publication produced in 4 years is another average. So in cancer research, they order by site score. So Nature Reviews Cancer is the one that received the highest site score by the lowest. And there are loads of indicators that you can use here. So you can use the SNP or the SJR, the number of documents, or the citations. So you can see, for example, that maybe, so you can see the cite score of, it's quite interesting that you, when you think in your decision making, use more than one indicator, because you can see here, there's an example for you. Nature Reviews Cancer is the one that received the highest cite score. But if you see the citation are lower than the one in molecular cancer, even though they receive more cite score. So molecular cancer receive more citation, but less cite score. And you know why? Because molecular science produce more publication, more citation, but when you do an average, it's not as successful as Nature Reviews. So that thing is you need to keep in mind when you are thinking about that. And so there is another tool that you can use, is a website called Scimago Journal and Country Rank. This is not it's not a database. This is a website that you can use without authenticate anything. Scimago Journal and Country Rank is from Scopus. Scimago is a partner of Scopus and use the data from Scopus. But instead of using cite score, that is the journal level metric, they use their own indicator. It's called SJR. So clicking in journals. Oh, the cookies. Sorry about that. So yeah, so again, they use the same classification in Scopus, subject area, subject categories, and they order the journals by SJR. So I'm going just to pick, for example, chemistry, and order the journals by SJR in chemistry. So you can see here. Other indicators. You can see the number of references or the number of total documents. Again, when you are thinking about where to publish, use more than one. And put together in a Excel with your with your notes. So you can see the profile of the journal here in more detail. So do you have any questions so far?
Barbara, I've just put a link to our Sway for the Where to Publish that shows those videos that might be useful.
Definitely, thank you very much. So I'm going just to stop sharing. If you have any question, please let me know. I'm going to share again my slides. I'm going to hand over my colleague. I cannot hear you, Deidre.
Sorry. Just another thing you might want to consider in the process of publishing is that you might need to think about the title of your paper. So it needs to be clear and concise. So an effective title should present to the reader the main topics of the study, highlight the nature of the research. It should be concise, not too long and unwieldy, and use inclusive language to increase engagement. So language that people will be able to understand clearly what it's about. So here an example, the first example here is a title that is too long. You might want to have a look at these two titles. So it's a very long title, it's too many words. It has kind of extra words in there that possibly kind of don't need to be there. You know, asking the question, does vaccination, and, you know, using lots of words, inactive, influenza virus. So you could sort of make it kind of more specific. So the second example here is a lot more specific. So it's just telling you exactly what the paper is about, the effects of child influenza vaccine on the infection rates in rural communities, and that it's a randomized trial. So people reading this paper know this clearly, and it can kind of help them decide whether the paper is relevant to them. It's effective, it's short, it's easy to understand, and we know exactly what the research is about. There's also some debate about whether we should use sort of catchy titles. For instance, people can use something, we've seen papers, mum's the word when they're talking about pregnancy. So if the searcher, for instance, hadn't put mum in the title, the paper might be harder to retrieve. Also, for people who kind of English language isn't their first language, or who they haven't heard of these expressions, it might not be very relatable to them. But in some instances, if it's sort of an area of research where a kind of phrase is commonly used, it might be okay to use. It's entirely kind of up to your own judgment. If anyone has any questions or anything they'd like to comment on this, please let me know in the chat, or come on the microphone. I'll also put a link in the chat in a moment into a blog myself and Barbara did on sort of a top 10 tips for choosing the kind of right sort of titles, and also thinking about sort of keywords you might want to assign to your articles. So does everyone here know what author keywords are? If you want to let me know in the chat or come on the microphone. Has anyone heard of author keywords? Have you seen them when you've been reading articles before? So author keywords, anywhere in an article? Okay, so it sounds like people haven't heard of them. So author keywords are keywords that you assign to your article, or that you'll see authors assign these to the articles. So this makes it a lot easier for search engines and databases to find your work easy, and for them to be discoverable and found by other researchers. So you need to consider you need to consider which are the best author keywords to use for your research. If you use very general keywords like research or article, that's kind of maybe a bit of a waste of author keywords. You should use ones that kind of really kind of describe your article and which other people working in the field will have heard of before. So this will help make your research more findable by people. Also, you should consider the references you use. So try to find references that are current and relevant in your area. So yeah, sort of think about which references you're going to use, because obviously the people could sort of kind of find the references and then kind of link to your work. So it's important to keep them relevant and current. You can also consider using reference management software such as EndNote to manage your references, which may be useful as well. Is anyone any questions they'd like to ask? Just summing up on what to do during your research. So you need to keep your name and your affiliation, so the university that you're linked to, consistent all throughout your career. For example, avoid using Elizabeth Jones in one paper and Liz Jones or LM Jones in another paper. And using your ORCID ID will kind of help with this. So it creates kind of consistency and it links you to all of your papers. We recommend that you use the institutional official name of your university. So for instance, here at Leeds, we use University of Leeds. So avoid using Leeds University or abbreviation of University of Leeds or School of Medicine at Leeds. So that'll kind of reduce the visibility of your research. If you use the official name, it'll increase the visibility of your research. Be consistent with your main institution, as we say, when submitting your paper. And the last thing I'd like to stress, just maintain your online identity accordingly. So whatever you're using in ResearchGate or LinkedIn or any other social media platforms you're using, to be consistent in your online identity. If anyone has any questions, please ask in the chat or come on the microphone. Okay. I'll just hand over to Barbara now, and she'll talk to you about what to do after you've published your research.
Thank you, Deidre. So after, when you've published the paper, deposit your author-accepted manuscript in Sympletic. How many of you have heard about Sympletic? It's the research information management system at the university that manages our publication, and Sympletic is connected with the main repository, the White Rose Research Online repository. So yeah, that can help you for your visibility as well, because it's going to be in the repository and going to be visible for others. Share your conferences slides in your, I don't know, if you have a ResearchGate profile, share, so upload your profile, your slides there in your profile, so everybody can see these preliminary results. Deposit your research data. If you are working with data, deposit the data in the repository. As we said, there is evidence that when we share the data and deposit the data, can increase the visibility, because you target the visibility from two angles, from the paper and from the data. Consider publishing in data journals. So the University of Edinburgh maintain a list of data journals. So have a look and at that list. If you can identify a journal in which you can publish just the data, no results, no information, no methodology, just the data, the data behind your paper. Disseminate your outputs in social media and update your research profile. So when you publish something, make sure that all your platforms are updated accordingly, so everybody can see your new publications. And also use Twitter to let other people know about your new publications. So I use Twitter a lot as a professional way, and I learn from Twitter, and other people are aware of my new publications, so use Twitter as well as a professional tool. You have any question before we finish the session today? We have 10 minutes, so we can stay a bit more answering question or going back to something that was not completely clear. So if you would like to ask anything. So if you would like to receive more support, so we have services, so raising research visibility, research data management service, a node, open access, literature searching, bibliometrics, so where to publish. We have different, I'm going to share with you our website for you to have a look. But if not, if you would like to know about tailored support, we are more than happy to have a conversation with you, a one-to-one. So email us anytime if you would like to know more about a particular topic. So we are more than welcome for your feedback about this session today. I'm going to share the link here. So please be completely honest. What you like about this session today, or would you like to improve next year. So we are always under the revision of the services, and we will read your comments, and based on your comments, we adapt the session as much as we can. But thank you very much for coming along today on a Monday. But I'm so happy that we were here around 20 or 25 people, which is good. So thank you to Deidre, thank you to Tanya for support me today. Please keep in touch. Have a lovely day and have a lovely rest of your week.
Barbara, you said we'll stay on for a few minutes just in case if there's any individual questions.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, we were going to stay here until 11 past. So 11:30, and then if you have any question, please let us know.